Anyone else like to speak for the council? Anyone else? Welcome.
Thank you. Matt Schmidt, 55 Main Street. Good evening, Town Council members. It seems my residential status has become a topic of great interest lately, even garnering the attention of some social media warriors. Well, I need to take some responsibility for the confusion. When I have come up to speak at Enfield meetings, I've been stating my address as 55 North Main Street. I've been inadvertently adding the word North each time. I believe this mistake is due to the fact that I recently moved from a neighboring town where I lived on a North Main Street. After 18 years of providing that address to people, I guess it just became habit. 55 Main Street, Bigelow Commons, is where I now live. And I never thought it necessary to provide a unit number, but since my residency has caused a few people such anxiety, I will provide that as well. 1304 Bigelow Commons. That's 1304 Bigelow Commons, in case anyone missed it. Now, this confirmation of my Enfield residency may come as a disappointment to some, especially the person who decided to try to follow me home after the last Board of Education meeting. When I realized they were tailing me, I crossed the river and led them to Suffield Meadows, a place I have no connection to whatsoever. I do not appreciate being creeped on, and I have no idea of this person's motivations or of their intent, especially since this occurred immediately after a Board of Education meeting at which I was heckled as I spoke the 3 minutes afforded each resident. Having had some time to think about the events of that night, I believe there are some things that need to be said. There is always more than one way to resolve a situation. For anyone who has heard me speak, I think it is evident that my focus has been on finding the best and simplest course to resolve the situation of masking children in schools. The best and simplest course to resolve a question about my address would have been to ask me. Just ask. It's a sad commentary on our present society that a person feels it more appropriate to follow someone they don't know rather than merely ask them a question. That would have avoided the sustained angst these people must have been feeling, and would have avoided the blatant disrespect of trying to speak over me during a public meeting. The reason I am bringing this up here is that I want to get the events of that evening out in the open as quickly as possible. People are less likely to commit questionable acts when everyone is explicitly made aware of them, and I hope this council, each and every member, will publicly denounce such actions. Because why would a member of the public even look up another person's address? Is there opposition research being done on local residents, on parents, on everyday people who are simply concerned about how certain policies affect their children? I think most people would agree that there is definitely a large bit of creepiness about someone checking up on people participating in a local political process. The people who engage in this activity are hoping to use it to discredit a person and thereby discredit what that person has said and what they have yet to say, in other words, a tactic. Then it just reveals that these people cannot successfully argue against the message, so they set their sights on the messenger. If, however, the people sifting through personal details of residents are genuinely concerned about non-residents exerting political influence in this town, all I have to say is, where have you been? The crux of most of my arguments against the school mask mandates is that these decisions should be made on a local level. Ned Lamont is not an Enfield resident. The heads of the Connecticut State Department of Education and the Connecticut Department of Public Health are not Enfield residents. How ironic to prioritize the importance of residency and then turn around and argue vehemently that we need to listen to the state at all costs. If it is that important to make certain that only residents have a voice in the political process, then be consistent. Join me in fighting to make the school mask decisions local. If not, then maybe your time would be better served researching your arguments rather than researching me. I don't know, maybe it all just comes down to the fact that I'm not very well known around here. I mean, who's this long-haired guy who just happened to show up speaking against school mask mandates? If you really want to know, just ask. We can go grab a cup of coffee. We can discuss our differences, and perhaps more importantly, our similarities. Yes, I'm new here, but I want to believe that all who attend and watch these meetings are open to resolutions. So I'll state publicly, whether you agree with me or not, elected official or not, I am open to discussion. Let's find solutions that work for everyone and puts the interests of the residents of this town above all else. And I'm willing to put myself out there to make clear that I don't feel intimidated by last week's actions, and neither should anyone who opposes the mandates. Because people should never feel afraid or ashamed to speak publicly. I know I never will. Thank you.
Thank you.